Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and in the preserving kitchen here today I am going to put a disclaimer on this video for you guys as well, because as much as I tried and I looked, I could not find a tried and tested recipe for passion fruit syrup. So with the different syrups that I have seen and had a look at, and some stuff I've seen on the internet, I have come to the decision on how I wanted to make my syrup. So this is going to be passion fruit syrup. I am following a basic recipe out of a really old preserving book that I have, which is called Wonderful Ways to Prepare and Preserve. I'll stick a picture in here for you guys so you can see the cover of that one. So in this book here, it has different syrups such as citrus, cranberry, blackcurrant, pineapple, a lemon syrup, a ginger syrup, and so forth in this book. So it's got several different recipes in here for different syrups, but not one for passion fruit. The passion fruit syrup is being very difficult to find a recipe that has been tested and preserved. So basically I am treating it very similar to making a jam, and similar to the recipes in here. So in this book here, I sort of looked at the pineapple one and the lemon syrup one as well. The pineapple one which is the one that I followed for the quantities, because it was also grams instead of say 12 passion fruit sort of thing, because I'd already yesterday gone and depulped all of my passion fruit, did it all in one go. So this called for 500 grams of fresh pineapple, so I did 500 grams of the passion fruit pulp. Then it had 500 grams of sugar, and then it was 2.5 cups of water. So that is the recipe that I have followed for this one. I'll put this all down in the description here for you guys. And then it was just a matter of cooking it up in the saucepan and bringing it to a boil and reducing it down to a point as well. Now I also taste tested it as I went to make sure that the sugar quantity and flavor was fine, and this specific recipe was really good. I love the flavor of this one. And then I've allowed it to cool, and I'm using my Simple Natural Vacola unit to preserve it into the jars. So quite often a lot of these older books say just put a lid on, and when it's hot, and let it cool, and basically it creates its own seal. Now that is fine if you want to store it in the fridge for using in the next 4 to 6 weeks. When you're making a larger quantity of something and you want to put it on the shelf to have it last 6 to 12 months, you really do need to put it through some sort of a unit. And today I will be using the Simple Natural Vacola unit. I am putting that in there and following the instructions through the machine, and that way I know that the jars will seal correctly and that they should be fine to sit on the shelf for however long it is until we use all the passion fruit syrup up. So guys, I really hope that you enjoy watching this one today, making this passion fruit syrup with me. So let's get into the kitchen, guys, and get this syrup made up. This is the passion fruit syrup. 500 grams of passion fruit pulp, 500 grams of sugar, and 2.5 cups of water, and on to the stove. So as you can see, the recipe is very, very simple. So once it's on the stove, you just need to bring it up to a boil and then just let it simmer and reduce down. You'll see all the foamy stuff on the top that happens. Now I usually just skim that off the top of it, and it just makes for a really much nicer, clear looking, better looking syrup. So just all that yellowy stuff you can see on the top there, the foams, just grab a ladle or however it is you want to, and scoop that off the top. But guys, don't walk away from this. Don't go outside and do something else. Make sure that you're staying around and keeping a really close eye on this, because we don't want to burn this syrup after we've gone to all that trouble of opening up those passion fruits and getting all the pulp out of there. So this does take a fair bit of time, probably, I don't know, half hour to an hour, depending on your stove is, what your pot's like, how hot you can have it, and how low you can have it. So just let it do what it needs to do. So as you can see, it has reduced a fair amount in here. And now I'm going to do what you would normally do for jam, which is a setting test. So I do exactly the same thing for the syrup, so I can see what it's going to look like when the syrup has cooled off. Then I know if the syrup's going to be a thicker syrup or a runnier syrup, or if I need to let it go a bit longer. And this is also a great time to do a taste test as well. So for those who do not know what a setting test is, basically the plate that I'm holding has been in the freezer for probably about half an hour, so the plate is really nice and cold. And then I'm putting my hot liquids onto the plate. The plate will be fine, don't stress. And just seeing how thick the syrup is. So you can see it here, it's just running that little bit like a syrup should. So once it reaches a consistency that you're happy with, just turn that stove off and let it cool down, ready to go into your jars in the Vacola unit. If it's not thick enough, if you want it a thicker consistency, let it boil down a little bit longer. But otherwise, guys, I'm happy with what's here. I'm happy with the flavors, so I'm going to let it cool down and get it ready for the jars. So we are now ready to jar up our passion fruit syrup, everyone. Now I'm just using some small jars here, so it's not a huge amount of quantity, a couple of little ones and then a bigger one. I did have some left over that I put into the fridge, and once I let it cool and tested it, it was beautiful. So I am going to leave a 1 centimeter headspace on these jars. And once I've filled these jars and it is 1 centimeter headspace, I'm going to grab a clean dishcloth and use some hot water, plain hot water. I'm using hot water because this is a sticky syrup. So any bits of syrup that has dripped onto the rims will come off nice and easily with a nice, hot, damp cloth. And it's really important that you make sure you get all of this syrup off that is on the rim that you have spill on there, because your jars will not seal. So once this is done, we just need to get the lids on and into the Vacola unit. Now I always pre-boil my jars. Basically I like to make sure that I'm gotten all the dirt off of them and they are nice and clean. So I will still boil my jars in a pot of water for 10 to 12 minutes. Then I will let them cool down, and then I will fill them with cooled syrup, and then they will go into my canner. I do have videos on how I use my Simple Natural Vacola unit, so if you guys want to check that out, you can go and check out the playlist and it will be in there on how to use it. Otherwise I will put the link to it in the description, and maybe I'll put that one at the end of this video as well. We will see. So but guys, that is a pretty simple how to actually get this done. And I am going to mark the top of these jars so I know which ones are the syrup, and because I'm putting them into the unit with the jam that I've been making alongside it as well. Just make sure if you are mixing something that is basically the same, that you do mark which ones are which. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, check out these videos on the side here, and go and check the other channels which will be down in the description, and we'll see you on the next vid.